Hi, my name is Camila Cardona. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and I'm a current applicant in the ADEA Dental School application cycle. So back in March, when COVID was, coming up, I was still taking classes at UIC, and I remember so vividly, I was in my organic chemistry 2 class, and we were in lecture, and my professor was like, guys, this is the warning, like COVID is gonna hit, and you guys are probably gonna go virtual. And I was like, what? Like, I hadn't heard too much of it, but I knew that something was happening. And I wasn't too worried because I was like, oh, it's just gonna be like, for a little bit, it's fine. But, maybe like not even a week later, everything shut down, classes went virtual. We lost probably a week of class because professors had to like assimilate to Zoom meetings and, online classes and labs and all of like modules and all that stuff. So we lost so much of time for school. And I only took 2 classes for my last semester. I took, mind you, they were Orgo 2 and Physics 2. So I was already struggling as it is. And losing that week of class really it made me struggle a lot. And losing a lot of resources that the school had and, restricting time with office hours, just a lot of stuff shut down. And even though like the semester was going like pretty well for me because I had made it a goal to do well for my last semester. It's fair to say I didn't end the semester as I had planned to, and I know a lot of people didn't as well. So I really feel for the people that, we're taking 5 classes, 18 credit hours. Like even me, I was struggling with just 2 classes, but I just kept doing, my best and trying to assimilate. Being at home was really hard too because there's a level of comfort that comes with being home since I am a commuter and, my desk is in my bedroom and I have my bed right next to me. So it's really hard to assimilate to online classes when you're so used to, waking up, you have a whole routine before, and then you come and it's a whole new world. And, the rest of the world is like going through a whole pandemic. It's not like it was just, oh, let's do online class. It's, for a serious reason and there's people being affected by it. So not only do you have the pressure of school and, doing well for your semester, but also, the health of your family, the health of your friends, everyone around you. And if you have a job, like going to a job and doing, your best there, having to get money. It was a crazy few months because it happened like, 1, 2, 3. So I wasn't expecting it to be that bad, but, it is what it is. And we ended how it was, but, the way that, the country is led and everything, just, it didn't really work. And, but yeah, in March, it was just craziness upon craziness, just a lot of struggles, a lot of trying to remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing, a lot of, meditation, just practices on how to, be mentally sane at the same time, trying to, keep myself physically engaged and not just cooped up in my room, in my bed, trying to do Zoom classes. Still trying to keep a routine of, waking up, showering, eating breakfast instead of just, waking up and going on my Zoom, which is, what I did, sometimes. But yeah, it was really hard. And I know a lot of my peers as well had a really hard time. And even also with it being my graduation, that was also, a very hard time too, knowing that I wasn't going to have that, credit of finishing college the same as other people had, other years. But, I understood completely, but, it was just the whole knowing that things could have been different and the way that things are right now, it was just a lot of struggles and sadness at the time. In terms of applying for this cycle, I always knew that I wanted to apply. I don't think that I never thought that, COVID was going to happen, but even when it did, I didn't think that I wasn't going to apply. I knew that I wanted to do it just because I knew that I was going to take this gap year and I didn't want to wait any longer. I know that, people have their own pace in doing stuff and that's totally fine. And the way that, for me at least, I wanted to start dental school last year, but that didn't work out for me. So I knew that I would want to try again this year because I had already done the application cycle last year. It didn't go in my favor, and that's totally okay. But I knew that I would want to do it again this year. And that meant, studying again for the DAT, doing everything again, looking at schools, doing the application cycle all over again. And I knew that I didn't want to spend more time thinking if I wanted to do it again and just do it. So I did it, and even though there were some times where I was like, man, just because I went through the whole cycle of, getting rejected basically, and that was pretty hard for me, especially because that was also during COVID kind of, when I wasn't really receiving any emails. Well, I was, of rejection. So that was really hard for me as well coming into the new year. But even then I brought myself up and I was like, I have to do it, because I know that this is a passion that I have. And I know that even though I had a setback, I need to come back from it and I need to do it again. And so, I studied again, and which was kind of, a blessing in disguise because I didn't have any distractions in the summer. So I had time to study for the DAT. But in that, I also had a lot of cons because, you're cooped up in your house and you can't go to a coffee shop, you can't go to a library. So it was hard to stay focused on studying for the DAT because it's such a lengthy, it takes up so much of your time, and you have to study 8 hours a day for so long. And having to do that during a pandemic also was just made me go crazy some days. But at the end of the day, I just, came back and I just thought that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So it's worth it, even in the middle of a pandemic. So I knew that I would want to apply again, and I did. And I finished my application. I sent it in already. I'm hearing back from schools, which, is a lot better than happened last time for me. So, there's a bright side to it. And I'm actually really glad that I'm taking this gap year because I think it's going to be good for me. I didn't think that the whole gap year was an option for me. I thought that it would have to be finish college, go straight into dental school. And I think a lot of people also think that, but I think it is a blessing in disguise to have this gap year, get experience. I'm working as a dental assistant right now. So getting that experience, making sure that this is something that I really want to do, something that I really have passion for, because I think in a lot of medical health fields, kids are pressured to go into them sometimes. And, I feel like people and, students should think about what they want to do and have the passion for it, and not just go into a field because, they were pressured into it or they feel like it's something they need to do. So yeah, I just felt like it was my time and I needed to do it, and I just did it. And it's looking good for me. So hopefully everything goes as planned. So the safety at dental schools is a really important topic for me. I think that because I have such a big family too, I would want to, make sure that that is a priority in my questions if I have any interviews, for how schools are, assimilating to COVID, what they're doing for their students and their staff. I am worried about it because, I don't want to be prone to that. And I know that dentistry is a really hands-on career, and I know that it's really important to go into school and do all the lab work and all of the stuff that you need to do to be able to become a dentist. I have a lot of friends that are in dental school right now, and a lot of them are in online classes, which I think is good, especially for a first-year student. I don't think you have much lab work. It's mostly classes, and online school isn't as bad for them as it is for maybe a third year or a fourth year student, where it's clinicals and you need to be in and trying to do clinics and all that stuff. But definitely it's going to be a question that I will be asking in interviews because I think it's really important, and I think it shows a great deal of how the school, cares for the students and cares for their staff. So it's definitely a question that I'm going to be asking. But yeah, I think it's something that I am worried about greatly, and it is a priority. So it will be on my top list to ask for schools. So for virtual interviews for dental schools for this cycle, I think what I'm most worried about is the whole laptop background type of thing. Making sure that your mic is okay, making sure you have a good background, making sure that you are seen, professionally through a camera, because it's so much harder to control these things and do everything than it is to just go into a room and, be with your interviewer and just have that. You have so many more distractions around. I wish I could go to the school and also see the school, because I know that's a part of the interview as well, is to get a tour of the school. And I wish I could go into it and do it. Obviously, we all understand why it's not available, but it's definitely a piece that I will be missing from the interview, because I would love to see where I'm applying to and, the resources available and everything that they have to offer. So that's a part that I will be missing. I, for one, am not the best at public speaking, and I do tend to get really flushed when I speak to a person, especially in person. So there are pros and cons. I do appreciate being in the comfort of my home and being able to relax and, wear Crocs and not have to wear, little heels maybe. But it is, worrisome too, in the fact that you don't have that personal connection with the person that you're interviewing with, and things could be maybe said differently or taken differently. You don't have my entire movements with you, so it's different. I think that it will be okay. So let's see, 2018 I went on a dental brigade with the UIC Global Brigades Club. And it was so crazy how it happened. I was in a pre-dental meeting and Global Brigades came in, had maybe a 10-minute presentation. And they were like, if you have any more questions or you want to sign up, we'll be here at the end of the meeting. And I didn't really think much of it. I was like, oh, that's cool, but it's kind of pricey and I don't really want to do that right now. I'm doing other things. But I signed up, got some emails, and I ended up doing it. And it's crazy because it was one of the best opportunities I had in my life. It was amazing. I think everyone should go on a brigade. If you're, in medical, there's so many: medical, water, public health, engineering, dental. There's so many brigades you can go on, and you have a chance to really make a difference and make an impact in another country and see the beauty of your profession at work in another country and, different cases. It was such a great opportunity. And so I went to Honduras for a week. We stayed in a little campground with a bunch of other colleges and universities. We had dental brigade was maybe 15 people, and we'd go to a little community. It was the same community for the whole week. We got really in touch with the community there. We built relationships. It was really amazing. The doctors there were all from Honduras. They spoke English and they spoke Spanish, and it was great for me as well, being bilingual. I was able to talk to the community and talk about oral health, which we did for the kids. It was great, and we got to assist and shadow and see a lot of cases that you don't typically see in the United States. Also, shadowing here in America is so much more different than shadowing in a different country where you don't really have that many restrictions. Shadowing here is you just in a corner, maybe ask a few questions. But when I went there, it was so much more different. I got to really be hands-on with the dentist. They really let you be a part of the treatment and not just on the sideline of it. And at the end of it, we had a circle. We all talked about our best experiences there. And it was just so uplifting, and being able to help all of the people in that community that thought that there was no, light at the end of the tunnel for them. They didn't think that they could have a pretty smile. They didn't think that they had any chances of, filling a cavity that they had in their mouth, looking beautiful with their smile. So yeah, it was a really great opportunity, and I feel like it's an opportunity that a lot of people should, go into if they have the resources to do so. But it really made me more motivated and more passionate for my field, and I think that once I do become a dentist, I think that I would really love to be a part of a brigade and going to different countries and helping out different communities, because that was just an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience for me. I loved it so much. It really brought a different perspective to dentistry that I didn't know really existed, and I didn't really dive into it until then, and it was just amazing. I'm so happy that I went on it, and it's just a great opportunity. I could not say more like beautiful things about it. It's just so great, and I think everyone should do it. So if you have the resources, you should really try and do it because it's amazing. So being a dental assistant during a pandemic is a little crazy, but it's a great opportunity as well. When I started looking for opportunities to become a dental assistant, it was a little rough because interviews weren't really happening in person. So I had a lot of phone interviews, and I would go in and maybe see a little bit, but sometimes it didn't work out with different clinics, and sometimes it did, but then life strikes you and something else happens. So I was going to have a job in a city here in Illinois, and it didn't work out. I didn't get the job. So then I looked somewhere else, and I was going downtown for a job, but then a close relative of mine got COVID-19. So I had to, quit that job and stay and quarantine and, isolate myself. So that didn't work out for me either. And then I ended up getting the position that I have right now as a dental assistant, and it's been great. I've been learning so much about the field that I had no idea about before. And I think that, what you get shadowing and what you get dental assisting and what you get volunteering at, anything that has to do with the dental field is just great. And you need to immerse yourself as much as you can, because you need to know what's happening in the career, what is it really about before you apply and before you think that you want to be a dentist, because it's so important to make sure that you have the passion and make sure that you have what it takes to go through with it, because there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of, wearing gloves, taking gloves off, wearing gloves, taking gloves off. It's just a crazy career. But being a dental assistant right now, I am just falling in love with it every more day. It's great. Every day, it's something new, another case, and the dentist that I am an assistant for is a general dentist. So, we have fillings, we have root canals, we have extractions. It's just everything that you want to see in an office. And it gives you a perspective on what maybe you want to specialize in the future. So it's great to see all these cases and everything in the office. I also have to do the front desk, which is a lot of insurance, a lot of claims. So you get both of, what dentistry is really about, because it's not all, in the back. You have to learn about insurances, and you have to learn about, the schedule making and keeping your customers happy, because it's a business if you want to get into your own business and, have your own office. So it's been great working at the office that I'm at right now. And, God has paved the path for me to stay here in this office. And even if it's just for a year, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of opportunities and a lot of, I'm just going to learn a lot about the field that I haven't learned before. And so, yeah, it's been great being an assistant. It's been a little hectic because, a lot of patients are really scared for COVID, and maybe they don't want to come in, and they don't want to, get their teeth cleaned or anything. And over the phone, when they're trying to make an appointment, they're always asking, is it safe? What are you guys doing? Are you guys wearing masks? What's it like? And we just remind them, we're following all the precautions. We wear 3 masks, we wear a face shield, we change gloves, we sterilize everything. So it's how it should be, we have to sterilize everything, even if it's not COVID. So, you have to wear masks, you have to do gloves. So everything is just elevated to another extent, but, everything is working and flowing very nicely in the office. So it's been a great experience overall, and I'm really appreciative that I have that opportunity. Some advice that I have for future applicants is, being a reapplicant myself, is to really dive into and research all the universities and dental schools that you are interested in, because I know that I applied to so many dental schools the last time that I am not applying to this time, because I really took the time this time and researched them and really thought, is this where I want to go? Do I really want to go all the way to Florida when I live in Illinois? Do I really want to go all the way to California? You really have to think about where you want to go, because you're paying for it. And, this is going to be your opportunity, your experience, and you want to be somewhere that you care about, that if you want to be close to your family, that's, maybe not as pricey as other options. So really take the time to consider every school and make sure that you apply to the ones that you want to go to, because, you know, I can't stress this enough. Like, don't apply to a school if it's really where you don't want to go, because then you won't be happy, and you want to be happy. Especially, like, you know, if there's a pandemic going on, you don't want to be stuck in a city that you don't want to be in. Another tip maybe is, please study for the DAT and take the time to study for it, because the first time that I took the DAT, I waited until the last second. You know, I didn't really have a plan. So, you know, stay organized, because organization is, you know, crazy important. You need to stay organized. Make sure that you take the time to structure out every day and what you're going to study, because if you just wing it, you know, you might not get the outcome that you want. So I'm lucky enough to have been able to do this twice, you know, and have the funds to do so. So I really learned a lot from the first time. But, you know, if you can do it the first time, please do, and take this advice, because I wish I had, you know, listened to it when it was given to me. Don't think that the first time you take the DAT, it's just like a practice run. Like, really try your best the first time, because you only get 3 chances. And, you know, you want to do your best in the first time so you don't have to do it all over again. So take your time to study. Make sure that you know, look into the schools that you want to apply to, and just, you know, meditate, and you're going to be fine.